Brand new story for you now, lovely listener. A brand new story about a very old tree. You will remember, I think Alexander Pope wrote, I think that I will never see a poem lovely as a tree. And this is a particularly glorious tree we're talking about this morning. A campaign is underway to save a tree thought to be the oldest in the East End from being moved by developers. The Bethnal green mulberry tree sits on the site of the old London Chest Hospital and is thought by locals to be 400 years old. Joining me on the programme is Ciaran Jebb from Tower Hamlets Green Party, who lives near the tree. Hello there, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Describe the tree to us, would you please?
So it's a beautiful old mulberry tree. It is almost 400 years old. We think it's one of the oldest trees still living in the East End. It's a big tree, and the most important thing is that it's still alive. It's incredible. It's flowering and bearing fruit year after year.
And at this point in the year, what is it looking like? Is it covered in blossom? Is it what are the leaves green and shiny? Give people who don't know what a mulberry tree looks like. We know about going round and round the mulberry tree or whatever it is, but what does it look like? Describe it a little more in a little more loving detail.
So it's just starting to come into blossom at this time of year. It has beautiful pink blossoms. Later in the year, it'll be green and leafy. It's showing its age. It leans this way and that. It's not a kind of tall, proud-looking tree. It's venerable rather than that. It's leaning over slightly, but it's still standing.
Just like some of my lovely listeners, venerable, slightly vintage, leaning over slightly, but still standing. And we applaud that, don't we? We love things that survive. We love things that are redolent of history and of all the things that tree will have been witness to. So what is afoot? What is going on with this development, and why and who wants to move the tree?
So the development itself is the redevelopment of the London Chest Hospital, which until recently was an active chest specialist unit, part of Bart's Health Trust. It was closed a couple of years ago and sold off to a housing developer who planned to convert the site into residential properties. This development has not yet gained planning permission from Tower Hamlets Council. However, as of a couple of days ago, a permission was granted by the council to move this 400-year-old tree from its current position at the kind of northwest corner of the site to a different location. Apparently, it's still going to be within the site, but we're very concerned, and local residents who have alerted us to this problem are very concerned that the damage that's potentially done to this tree is irreparable. It might not survive transplantation. And I think the most concerning aspect of this is that the decision to move the tree,
yes,
the only justification for that is provided by the development going ahead. So this decision has been made, but it only needs to be moved, if you say it needs to be moved at all, if the full development goes ahead. So I think there's an element of jumping the gun by the developer here. They're assuming that this development will be waved through, and in that respect, they're just taking for granted the council's decision and making this, I think, damaging move.
I mean, let me read you the statement from the developers, Crest Nicholson. A spokesperson for Crest Nicholson said, "We respect the heritage of the London Chest Hospital site, and as a result, the mulberry tree will be retained and relocated within the site. The characteristics of the tree respond well to transplanting, and we see no threat to the tree from its relocation."
I think that they may be being slightly overconfident there. I think the example they gave previously of a tree that had successfully been transplanted was a 100-year-old specimen in Cambridge, and I believe that the site where that transplant was successful has a team of full-time gardeners who are able to make sure that after the transplant is well looked after. I think it's a very different story for a 400-year-old tree. I mean, can you imagine any 400-year-old man-made structure that would be allowed to be removed or damaged during any development? I think whilst mulberry trees that are younger might well be movable, I think this is a I think it is a special case. This tree survived the Blitz. You can see some charring on some of the lower limbs, and I think there's no reason to move it. Even within the development, it's not clear why it can't just remain where it has been for 400 years.
What can you do to stop its being moved? Can you chain yourself to it? Is that what you're thinking of doing? What can we do?
So initially, we have contacted the council and the developer saying that we would seriously like them to reconsider the plan to move it. We have been in touch with local residents who are of the same opinion, that it's an unnecessary move. And I think, I think there would be a position for direct action. It's not every day that we get an opportunity to protect something that has been a huge part of London's heritage. And I think it's as important as any man-made structure that we all seek to protect it.
Well, thank you very much indeed for alerting us to it. That's Ciaran Jebb there of Tower Hamlets Green Party. This is about the 400-year-old tree. It's a beautiful mulberry tree. Why do we say round around the mulberry bush then, if it's a tree? I don't know. The Bethnal Green mulberry tree, 400 years old, which sits on the site of the old London Chest Hospital.